Hi, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Hi, folks. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Out of curiosity, I just wanted to check, are you folks from the or Open Atlas community, or did you hear about this through an email regarding our admissions group? You can unmute yourselves.
Excuse me, sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, hi. Are you a high school student?
Yes, I am.
Okay, amazing. Where do you go to high school?
South Forsyth High School,
Oh, very cool. That's amazing. Where is that?
in Georgia, near Coming City.
Okay, terrific. And Saket, are you also a high school student or the parent of a high school student?
Yeah, so I'm a current high school student.
Oh, okay, amazing. Where do you go to high school?
I go to school in New Jersey, Jersey City.
Okay, wonderful. And what grade are you in?
I'm currently in 10th.
10th, okay. Amazing. All right, we have a couple more people joining, so I'm gonna admit them. So please go back to being on mute. For those of you that have just joined, we're gonna get started in a couple minutes.
Excuse me, can I join back in another computer?
Yeah, absolutely. Just maintain your mute.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll start in about 5 minutes to let anyone who's coming in a little bit late join. Okay, everyone, so let's get started. So my name is John Gardezi. I'm going to be talking to you today about what you can be doing this summer if you want to get into a top 10 school. So this is a roadmap for high school students in grades 8 to 12. So today we're going to be sharing a lot of useful insights. So really excited to get started with you. Okay, so why does the summer matter more than ever when you're a high school student? So I've worked for many years with high school students who have gotten into top 10 schools, and there are lots of rejections that people encounter in this process. Even if you get into some schools, other schools reject you. And one of the questions is why? Why does this happen? So frequently, you have lots of students who have 4.0 GPAs, 1500 on their SAT score or higher, heavy AP course loads. But what they're not doing is really using their time strategically. And summer is perhaps the best time to think strategically about what you're up to. So, what are admissions officers looking for? They're looking for intellectual curiosity and genuine passion. They're looking for initiative. They're looking for depth over breadth or randomness. And so they want to see that you're going to be a great addition to their campus community. So when you're thinking about what you should be doing in your summers as a high school student, you want to show a story that you are becoming somebody that will thrive on their school campus. And so what are some of the biggest mistakes that students make? Okay. Um, Basically, what you've got is a lot of AOs who are reading thousands of applications, and plenty of people are joining just different programs. They're thinking about prestige. They're often engaged in participating in pay-to-play programs, which, for the record, isn't necessarily a bad thing. But they're not really contributing. And so, what does work for you as a high school student? So it's really important that you're focused on growth in a couple of areas. You really showcase sustained commitment. That's really, really important. You go deep. You also are a self-starter and that you are spearheading projects that have real outcomes. And you also have a narrative that's been being built intentionally over time. And so keep in mind that top 10 schools really want to see students go deep in 1 to 3 areas rather than simply participating in 15 different activities. So I know I've given you a lot of information, and today I want to introduce myself. So my name is John Gardezi. I'm a senior educational consultant at Open Admits. I'm a Harvard graduate and former interviewer for the Harvard College Office of Admissions. I've got over 20 years of experience in admissions and test prep. Um, and I've also, fun fact, got a perfect score on my SATs. And I've helped lots of kids get into the most competitive programs in the country. So that's a bit about me. And now I want to switch back to what we're focusing on today this summer. So as you're thinking about summer, think about your spike. So what is a spike? This is an area where you have exceptional depth, where you basically did something so amazing that it helps you shine. So for instance, if you want to become a future physician, all right, Think about, okay, how can you be involved in clinical volunteering or public health research or doing some sort of spearheading some sort of health education initiative? If you're going to be a future engineer, really think about, um, how are you going to be involved in robotics, perhaps? Or, think about your GitHub, and if you started some sort of independent coding project. Have you been exposed to startups or hackathons? If you're a future policy student, think about debate, nonprofits, publishing writing on some sort of public issues. And then finally, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, maybe you launch your own initiative, you launch your own startup, I should say, or you have a nonprofit committed to financial literacy, doing something that has some measurable community impact. So you don't need to do something miraculous. You just need to show that you're motivated and that you're willing to grow. So here's a strategy you can follow wherever you are in your journey. So if you're in 8th to ninth grade, really think about exploration, skill building, attend some camps, take some classes. And then once you're in 10th grade, really start to look at leadership opportunities. Go deep, participate in your first research experience. Begin to think about strategically what you want to study in college so that you can specialize. Your activities in high school should truly reflect what it is that, you want to be doing in the future, in college and beyond. And then in 11th grade, you can start thinking about, some other types of high impact work, like related to your major, related to leadership, and also helping you differentiate yourself in your application. And then finally, as a rising senior, this is when you're spending a lot of time on essays, application strategy, final profile strengthening. So basically bringing everything together. Okay. So 8th to 12th grade, this is the general trajectory that you should follow. And of course, working with a counselor, you can do a drill down from this and think about what does your next, step look like in your own journey. So what do top students do? Okay, there are lots of things you can be doing in a summer. You could be participating in a university research program. If you're going to be a rising 12th grader next year, you've probably heard of, or an 11th grader, I should say, next summer, not the summer after next, I should say, there's the alphabet soup of university research programs: RSI, SSP, YSP, SIP, SRA, RMP. These programs are very prestigious and can help set you apart. You can also take coursework at a community college or through a university. You can also do independent study projects. A lot of top students are also participating in internships, jobs. They actually have jobs. They do shadowing, particularly those in the medical field, volunteering, community projects, entrepreneurship, all of that. All of that actually helps you grow as a high school student. And then you can also start building out skills. So let's say you're interested in writing or coding or data analysis or foreign languages. This is a really great time for you to start building up those skills. And then finally, personal growth. Okay, passion projects, creative work, doing things that really help you take on a lot of growth. Also, if you have any responsibilities in your family, in your culture, and then just being involved in your community. Those are all the things that you can be really involved in. So, research opportunities. Okay, what does that actually look like? So, when you do a research opportunity correctly, what they're going to see is that you've really engaged with a question. Okay, you're curious, you're a problem solver, you're able to discuss findings conversationally in interviews, and you've built up mentorship relationships with faculty or professionals. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to publish a paper. So a lot of you may be looking at paid programs where it's like, we'll guarantee publication or, a spot at a conference. You don't necessarily have to get to that point. What you really need to do is be authentically engaged with whatever topic you're looking at. And what do strong research options look like? You have university-affiliated summer research programs. You've got independent mentorship with local professors. Also, a lot of community-based research projects, lit reviews, etc. And so one of the red flags you might consider is that you pay large fees, but you don't really have a whole lot of opportunity to do hands-on work or actually author anything. So that can be a litmus test for a potential research opportunity. And of course, when you ask a seasoned college counselor whether or not a particular opportunity makes sense, they can oftentimes draw on their experience working with students like you. So summer programs, are they worth it or not? Not all programs are the same. Typically the ones that are more selective are usually better, but it really also depends on where you are in your journey. So the strongest programs are going to have selective admissions, a lot of rigor, mentorship, individualized feedback, and real demonstrable outcomes. Now, there are programs that are not as strong. I don't want to call them weak, but what they can offer you is the opportunity to build your profile early on, particularly if you're an 8th or 9th grader. Sometimes it's actually quite hard to get into the more prestigious programs. And so, the selective programs that you've probably heard of, RSI, SSP, Primes, Promise, those are terrific. If you do go to a pay-to-attend camp, it might still be beneficial if you're a younger student. So I don't want you to completely write them off. So internships and real-world experience. So real-world internships signal something that transcripts can't, right? Maturity, initiative, the ability to function in professional environments, okay? That's really great that you can actually, be in a professional setting and growing, developing, particularly for medical and health opportunities, looking at, clinical volunteering, shadowing. I also specialize in med school applications, so I have a lot of knowledge and information on what you need to be doing to build out those types of profiles. And then also STEM and engineering, working in engineering firms, research labs, tech startups, university labs. So these are all really great ways to showcase how you can be out there in the world. And then also nonprofits and policy. So, local nonprofits, political campaigns. There are always elections going on. So if you're interested in politics, that's a great way. Community advocacy organizations, city government offices, etc. So now, those are just some things you can consider. Now, what is leadership that actually matters? So strong leadership, you create something new from scratch. You identify a problem, organize a solution, build a community initiative with measurable impact, and you basically have multi-year commitment, right? Basically, what this looks like in practice is, hey, I want to go start a tutoring program or a club and help 40 underserved kids. That's going to be more important than you having some sort of title. Like I know at school you'll probably have a lot of competition for different types of clubs and activities. And so admissions officers are really trained to see through just having a bunch of titles. They really want to see impact. So the passion projects, right? These are your secret weapon, okay? These are ideas that work. Basically, a podcast, YouTube. So passion projects are great when you've exhausted all the other options, right? And you're looking at what you can be doing, okay? You're thinking about blogs, newsletters, published writing, okay? Basically, the ideas that work, apps, websites, software tools, those are all really great. And then you've got like also other things like community initiatives, cultural preservation, independent research. Those are also really good. And why they work, they really showcase who you are beyond just, like the other aspects of your profile, your grades, your scores, etc. So with passion projects, oftentimes, if you have resource limitations, that can be really, really good in helping you get around sort of, you've run out of options, you want to think outside the box. This is a really great way for you to set yourself apart. Of course, the summer is also a good time to do SAT or ACT planning. So thinking about, basically March and August of 11th grade are the best time to take the test. And the reason is you work around school schedules, finals, what have you. So summer is that ideal window. Okay, you can take consistent full-length time practice tests, you can identify areas of weakness. You basically can really spend some time this summer taking diagnostic tests, participating in some structured prep. Maybe take a class. We're actually offering classes here at Open Admits, and you can find the schedules on our website. And then also just doing some time practice. Okay, so summer is really that time when you can truly set yourself apart. So in terms of building a cohesive application narrative, um, most powerful applications aren't just a list of activities, they're like a story. Okay, who is the student? Where are they going? And the AOs should be able to answer what motivates you, what are you curious about, what kind of impact you want to make. And so, as I mentioned before, your summer should really should make the case for what you want to study and what your long-term interests and goals are and your vision for the future. So, on the screen, you're seeing this idea of a portfolio. Think of a beautiful painting, the most beautiful painting you've ever seen. It has different elements to it, things in the background, the foreground, different characters, different scenery. Everything that you're doing in the summer and in the rest of your high school years is feeding into this beautiful portrait of you as a person that's going to be making a contribution to a particular college. And so what do admissions officers notice? They notice that you have a genuine interest, you're authentic, you understand your why, you're self-motivated. All of these things drive them to like you as an applicant. And so let's say you don't have a lot of money or connections. There are lots of ways that you can stand out. So you can look for free online learning, Coursera, edX, Khan Academy. You can do cold outreach for research, right? Like a well-written email to a local professor or professional. You can do local volunteering and projects. All of that feeds into building up a great, profile. So, I know I've mentioned some of this before. In terms of things you can do, like future pre-med students, clinical volunteering, research, taking coursework online. If you're a future CS student, coding, doing an internship, participating in hackathons, types of research. If you're a humanities or policy student, maybe doing a competitive debate program, publishing, writing, community advocacy, independent research, etc. So this is like a timeline that you can consider. Um, Summers really are never built. Just your whole summer part of your profile is really often a layered experience. The summer after 10th grade, or the summer, let's say, you could say even before, really exploring your genuine interests, and then the following summer, positioning your activities, going deeper, and then the senior fall, it's really about application storytelling, synthesizing everything into compelling essays and a cohesive narrative. So what you shouldn't do this summer is overload your schedule. Okay, don't overload yourself. Don't just chase prestige blindly. Okay, that's not going to help you. Um, Really, also don't copy other students. I think they say comparison is the thief of happiness. Well, in college admissions, if you're just copying other people who did really well, you're going to stress yourself. Think about how you can be unique. And then also don't ignore your mental health. It's really important that you rest, you take time to pause and just really enjoy, savor what you're doing. And so the strategic summer planning framework, think about these questions. What is it that interests you? Okay? Because what interests you is what will keep you motivated. And then what skills do you need to develop, right? Identify gaps between where you are now and where you want to be. And then also think about what you can create this summer. All right? What project, initiative, or product can you build and show as potential? And then how does this all relate to your future goals? And then again, what is it going to do to help you stand out? That's super duper important. So as you think about this summer, okay, the goal isn't perfection. It's to really showcase your growth, your direction, your initiative, your curiosity, your impact. don't think that just because 10 other people may have done what you're thinking, that it doesn't matter. If you use this summer with intention, you're going to be really setting yourself apart in this process. Okay, so now if you want to have a free 30-minute consultation, you can always email me, John at OpenAdmits. We can talk about your summer plans, your college admission strategy, your research and internships, what you're doing for your standardized testing, what you might want to do in your application. So, you can ask pretty much any type of question. So email me at john@openadmits.com. One thing I want to mention and highlight here is we do have a $19.99 special. So it's not just for pre-med, it's for basically anything. 12 hours of college counseling. And basically, you can look at your current profile and build a personalized roadmap. It's really good for rising juniors and seniors, or if you feel like you're starting late. So if you want results, this is a terrific offer, the 12 hours that you get. And again, you can email me, john@openadmits.com, and we can set up a time for you to chat with me one-on-one. So, at this point, I want to turn to questions. What I wanted to do today was actually maybe predict some of the questions that you might have. And so I've given you some answers, some food for thought, how important they are, whether you need research, how many activities you should do, what if you're undecided, how early should you start planning, etc. So this is a lot of information that I know we went through today, and we do have some time. So at this point, if you have any questions, you can enter them into the chat, and then I'd love to take questions from you. Okay, so first question, when should students start studying for the SAT? So I mentioned earlier, August before 11th grade is the first time you should really consider the SAT, taking it, then March of 11th grade, and then August before 12th grade. So I would say summer after 10th is really the best time to get started with SAT prep. Maybe take a class, do some independent study, etc. Okay, so next question, how do top schools view students graduating in 3 years instead of 4? What makes it look impressive versus rushed? Yeah, they don't view it differently. I mean, kids who finish in 3 years tend to be more accelerated, so it can look good. But you want to make sure that the totality of your profile with your activities and your testing and your summers are really filled out with things that set you apart. Okay, another follow-up question regarding the SAT. Can you take the SAT sophomore year as well? Yes, you can. Typically, students, though, do better going into 11th grade than in 10th grade because they improve their math and English skills. Great questions, everyone. Okay, next question. Would admissions officers rather see a student build something genuinely for their school or community or participate in more prestigious but common programs? So the best answer is they would prefer you do both. You should be doing both. And that's what sets you apart. It's not an either or. It's really do both if you can. Now, it may be hard to get into a prestigious program, and if you don't go to one, that's not necessarily going to preclude you from getting into a top school, but doing something useful for your school or community is usually what is going to help you in this process. And of course, prestigious programs are great. So what if you are doing a passion project with two friends? Is that okay, or is it better to do something alone? It can go either way. A podcast usually needs more than one person or starting an organization. However, an independent research project might just need a mentor. In that case, you'd be working on your own. Okay, so next question. For highly selective admissions, is upward trajectory and initiative more compelling than starting with elite level achievements very early? Again, it's a question. The short answer is both. You, of course, want the upward trajectory, but you also do want those elite level achievements early on, particularly in terms of grades, scores, activities, hackathons, competitions, Olympiads, etc. Really wonderful questions. Okay, so next question. Would building infrastructure or resources for a school community be viewed similarly to traditional leadership positions? Yeah, it can be. It can even be viewed better, right? Because that is a form of leadership that's very, very important and useful as you're thinking about kind of, how you can make an impact. I am loving these questions, everyone. All right, let's see. We have another question. What is a good GPA for schools like NYU? So I would say at least a 3.8 unweighted, but preferably like a 3.9. Even NYU is starting to get pretty competitive, so you want to have like a strong GPA. Okay, so another question. If your GPA is lower when you are an underclassman but increases, is that okay? Yeah, it's it's okay. It's obviously better that you improve, but it's better to improve sooner rather than later. And I'd also say it's really important that you are working hard and challenging yourself throughout high school and getting help. That's really, really important if you're ever struggling in a subject. So, next question, if a student has many interests across STEM, leadership, service, etc., how do they think about building coherence without narrowing themselves or sounding fake? So a lot of it comes back to the discussion we had around genuine interest. So if you're pursuing the things that you really care about, it helps showcase that you are truly motivated about what it is that you're going for. So it helps you sound authentic. So next question is, open admits offer math classes. So we have math tutoring. So we can help you find a tutor to help you boost um, your level on a one-on-one basis. Again, feel free to reach out to me, john@openadmits.com. So everybody have my email address. It's right here. Great questions today, everyone. Okay, so at this point, if you do have any more questions, you can always email me. I hope you found this helpful today. I see great things in all of your futures, and I'd love to be a resource for you. So again, please email me, john@openadmits.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And again, I'm happy to schedule a free 30-minute consultation with you and your family, the parents who are here. And I'm excited to hear from you guys shortly. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Thank you.